In Hollow Knight, there are plenty of tools you can use to traverse the world of Hollownest. I'd argue the most useful one is in fact the downslash, or pogo as we call it. The pogo in Hollow Knight is so useful because you can use it to not only get some height, but it also refreshes your dash and double jump if you've already used them. You can pogo enemies, background objects, or even projectiles to get to areas that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. Luckily in Hollow Knight, when you die you leave behind an enemy in the world called your Shade. The Shade looks like a dark shadow version of you, and even mirrors some of the moves you have, like the Nail Swing and Fireball. In the speedrunning world, we found ways to pogo off of our Shade to get to areas early, which we call a Shade Skip. There are many areas in Hollownest that use this trick, just ask any of the HK randomizer runners, but I'd argue the most useful place to use it is right here, next to Salubra's hut. The Shade Skip here is used in almost every No Major Glitches category, in one form or another. By getting up to the Blue Lake early, you gain access to Blue Lake, Dream Nail, Resting Grounds, and the entire normally locked off right side of the City of Tears. This allows us to open King Station, go to Kingdom's Edge, get the 420 Geo from Gorgeous Husk, or even go fight the Watcher Knight very early into some categories. While Hollow Knight is obviously not very linear, this sequence break is so essential to so many categories, and we're lucky enough that Team Cherry let the Shade spawn so close to this area. Now there are a couple different versions of this specific Shade Skip, and I'll show the 3 I personally know of that come up in actual runs. The first is the standard version, which you do in any percent and all skills, after obtaining the Mothman Cloak and the Mantis Claw. The first thing is you want to make sure to bench right here to spawn here after dying. Then you just make your way over to the Husk, and the only thing you have to do is to make sure to die to the right of this spot here. Otherwise the Shade will spawn up in Grozmother's Arena, which you don't want for this trick. Then, after dying, you jump and dash off the ledge like this, forward or upward slash the Shade once, it'll die in 2 hits if you don't have any nail upgrades or extra masks, then dash back over to the ledge, get on this wall here, do 2 tiny jumps at the top, slide down, then jump back up, jump off, and dash over. Pogo the Shade once, killing it, and then dash over to the wall and grab it. Keep in mind this is just how I manipulate the Shade's positioning, but other runners have different methods for keeping the Shade at the spot they want. Also, another thing to keep in mind is the Shade has a chance to shoot a fireball at you, which can make the Shade Skip a little trickier, but still doable. The longer the Shade is at the same height as you and out of nail swing distance, the more of a chance that it will shoot the fireball, so trying to stay off the same level as it is your best bet. The next version of the skip is in the True Ending, and it's the version called Clawless Shade Skip, which essentially just means doing the skip but without the wall jump. In True Ending we need a good amount of essence, which you need the Dream Nail for, but Elder Hu is over in the Fungal Waste near the Mantis Claw, so this allows us to get the Dream Nail first, then we only have to go to Fungal Waste once, kill Elder Hu, and grab Mantis Claw all in one visit. In this version, we're going to use a parry on the Shade to get more height without dealing damage to it. What you want to do is all the same things from the last one up until you spawn at the bench. Then head over to the left and get 3 hits on each of the 2 husks, giving you enough soul for 2 fireballs. Then head back past the Shade and enter Salubra's hut. You can do this skip without entering her hut, but it just makes it easier for me. Then you jump and dash off the ledge, land on this right here, then dash back over and stand in this spot. Now as soon as you get here, you want to do 2 full jumps to manipulate the Shade into the correct position. Then you jump over to the left, get hit by the Shade, knocking you up and to the right. Then you down slash, which should parry the Shade's nail swing. Then you air stall with a fireball, pogo once, air stall with another fireball, pogo again, killing the Shade. Then you should have enough height to dash over to the right and land on the ledge without needing to grab the wall. Now keep in mind this is all assuming the Shade doesn't fireball, which you can either re-enter Salubra's hut and reset the Shade, or you can salvage the Shade skip by dashing over to the left, wait for the fireball to go off, then dash back over to the right, do 2 jumps, and then do the same sequence. It takes some practice to adjust to little positioning differences, but it's definitely a trick that looks harder than it is. The last version is definitely the most cursed, but it's the version where you don't have the dash or the claw, only the fireball and base nail. This is a very niche version of the skip, only being used in meme categories, namely Great Hopper %, but cool to know that it's possible. First things first, you're going to notice that you can't actually get up to the Salubra bench, meaning you're going to have to die at the normal spot, then run back to this area from your last bench, normally the Crossroads Stag Station bench. Then, you have to get 6 hits of soul, just like in the True Ending version, and come over and use the Shade's nail swing to parry pogo up to the ledge. If you had to pogo the Shade, you'll have to enter the Salubra's hut to reset the Shade's health, then use the parry to get up. Then you walk over to the right here, kinda in the middle of the bench, Do what I'd call 1.5 full jumps, whereas you'll then do the same sequence as the Clawless version, making sure you're close enough to the ledge to get up to it after the second pogo. This version of the skip is definitely the least used out of the three, but probably the most flashy as well. And that's how we use the Shade Skip in Hollow Knight. We were pretty lucky that Team Cherry gave us an enemy that we can spawn in certain locations, can be manipulated into the spots you want, and we can pogo and parry to give us a surprising amount of height. There are definitely other places in the game to use shade skips like this, including one that requires you to pogo off the shade's fireball, but that's an even more niche skip that maybe I'll talk about another time. For now though, maybe head to Salubra's hut with just the dash, and see if you can get up onto the ledge and get your dream nail really early. It's definitely a fun trick to pull off. Thanks for watching.